Highland Lamb, and this is episode 9, and I'm Diane. And I showed you some footage in the beginning of looking out from the ferry landing across Crescent Beach, out to the bluffs, across the Atlantic Ocean, and into Old Harbor, where the ferries come in and out. And my husband and I were down at the ferry this morning at 8:45 actually, because we were returning our friends who spent a lovely weekend with us to the ferry so they could get on the 8:15 boat and head back to Cape Cod. So I have decided to title this episode Getting Ready for the Holidays. And we kicked it off this weekend with what we like to call a mock Thanksgiving. And for those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, or those of you who just celebrate the harvest and reaping the wonderful joys that this time of year brings to us, whether it be root vegetables or berries and greens in the woods. And that's actually what my husband and I did to prepare for the weekend with our friends. We started by walking around our property and around the island and cutting down some beautiful branches of evergreens. We're very fortunate that we have spruce and we have several different kinds of pine trees on the property. So we were able to cut down some low-lying limbs. We call it or consider it more like pruning. We honor the trees, and we would never cut if we felt the tree was in trouble. So this is kind of a pruning situation for the tree, and it allows us to fill our window boxes with fresh greens. We also are very lucky to have winter berries. We have 362 ponds on Block Island, which is amazing considering Block Island is only 7.5 miles long and 3 miles wide. But we have 362 ponds, and around these ponds grow these beautiful winter berries. And so we were able to pick some of those to put in our window boxes. We had pine cones that had fallen onto the ground. So we started the week by filling our window boxes with these beautiful berries and evergreens and pine cones. We brought some into the house. I did cut back from my gardens some dried oregano, which really was quite lovely. It's got a pretty good sized head, and it's kind of a brownish color on a long stem. I cut a couple of other things I really can't identify. I did bring in some bittersweet so I could do an arrangement for my dining room table, and I will insert a photo here so you can kind of see that arrangement. And so from there, I started our cooking and baking preparations. I made some cranberry orange bread. I made a carrot cake, which was one of our favorites. And of course, we had a traditional turkey, and we had cranberry sausage stuffing and all the goodies that went along with it. And it was just a wonderful time to commune with our friends and reflect on how grateful we are. We're all healthy right now. Our families are all healthy right now, and we have to celebrate these moments when things are going well. And that's what we did. And I also did a little grace, or read something that I had found on a podcast called the Dandelion Pact. And if you get a chance, check it out. It's very it feels very old-fashioned. It's based on letters that are being written back by two friends, and they have formed a little pact. I don't want to share too much with you, but when they prepare a simmering pot, they say these words. And to me, it really felt like a grace to the universe, to nature, to be grateful for all that we have and the bounty and the flora and fauna from around us. And so I was happy to say that little grace at our dinner table. So anyway, I hope that you're all in preparation mode. Whatever you celebrate, whatever holidays you celebrate, that you're just enjoying this time of year, this slow time of year. Okay, what am I wearing? So this is the peppercorn pattern, and this pattern was released by Webs, and the designer is Julie Turjoman, 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 and it was designed for Webs using Valley Yarn. And this is Worthington. It's a beautiful yarn. Beautiful Fair Isle pattern. And the pattern was released in a kit, and I bought the original kit. And these were the colors that came in the original kit. And I like to think of this as my Thanksgiving Day sweater because If you look close, it looks like everything I just spoke about, right? It looks like evergreens, and it looks like berries, and all the dried flowers and the dried leaves on the trees. And I like to wear this with either green. I have some nice green, stretchy kind of dressy slacks. And I also have a pair of cranberry jeans, and I like to wear that with boots. These are not really the best colors for me, though I really enjoy wearing this around the holidays. And after I made this, I just wanted to make another one. It was that fun. You're only ever working with 2 colors at the same time. So if you want to get into Fair Isle, and the charts are very easy to follow. There's, it's not a long repeat. So I was having so much fun that after I was finished with this, I felt a little let down. I was like, oh, what am I gonna knit now? So I decided to customize my colors, and I chose this gorgeous heather black. There are 2 grays here. There's a medium gray and a soft gray, and of course this cranberry color. And this looks great with, black jeans, with tights, with a black skirt and boots. And I like to wear it with silver. And so this is a lovely pattern. And again, this pattern was in the Webb's catalog. This was a few years back now, but I know you can find this. Valley Yarn, Worthington, bottom up, knit in the round. This yarn is 50% wool, 25% alpaca, and 25% viscose. I don't have a camisole on underneath, and I am very comfortable. It has great memory. In the black, the heather black, there's a little speck every once in a while of blue, a little yellow. So you could easily use this black with any other color. So that brings me to what's on the mannequin today. And I love this sweater. I wore this sweater at least once or twice a week last winter. This is called the Birch Bay. This pattern was designed by Julie Hoover. It is made in Brooklyn Tweed. And Brooklyn Tweed, check out Brooklyn Tweed. They're using all homegrown sheep fibers. And this is 100% American Targhee and Columbia wool. This is a worsted weight yarn. I believe the collar and the rib was on a 7 and the body is on a size 8 needle. This pattern uses a tubular cast on and a tubular bind off. It's in reverse stocking knit, and it's called Birch Bay. And what's interesting is we are looking at a delicate oak leaf pattern. It's kind of in relief against this reverse stocking knit. I think this is just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And the sleeves fit, so it's an exaggerated drop sleeve. And the sleeves fit a little snug, which I kind of like because it's not tight up here where you need a little bit of room, but it fits nice from, mid top of the arm down. It's cozy as can be. It's got a nice little, you can make this longer. I don't, I like it like that. And I want to take a moment to talk about how you can dress up something like this, or how you can keep something like this from getting makeup on it or moisturizer, how you can keep our turtlenecks and our cowl necks clean. One thing I really like to do is take a neutral like this and experiment. So take a look at this gorgeous, in the 80s when I was working, I wore a lot of suits and I wore a lot of little scarves inside my suits. I donated a lot of them, but there were some in particular that I just loved. And so, imagine that inside. Can you see that? Isn't that beautiful it changes the whole look of that. And when you wear a little silk scarf or a little something inside, you don't have to worry about anything coming off on your sweaters. Here's another gorgeous, this was a hand-painted silk scarf that I got at a crafts fair, and I love to wear that inside there. And you can change the whole look of this by, wearing a longer. Now, this isn't necessarily for keeping it clean, but just to change the whole look of this, Isn't that beautiful? So some of these scarves were given to me over the years. Some of them are, made in Italy, and they're all hand rolled and hand stitched. So I think it's a nice way to honor some of these beautiful scarves, and especially these special ones that were gifts, or these silk ones. And oh, here's another, look at this little one. It's got like the little riding, the fox, little bugle inside there with boots and black stretchies. So I just thought I would share how I like to style this piece. And let's see, what else I wanted to mention, it does have a split. It has 16 to 18 inches of ease. So you've got to kind of think about that when you look at the sizing. How big do you want this to be on you? It falls beautifully. So I went with the pattern. I did not make any modifications at all on this. And it doesn't make you look oversized. It just falls nicely. I think that this sleeve in the rib stitch, this kind of skinny look, does help to slenderize the overall look of this sweater. You can see it does, Beautiful, right? Okay. So last time we were together, I had put a new project on the needles, and that was the Lory Pullover. And the Lory Pullover, I want to just get my notes. Oh, it was designed by Courtney Spainhower. And I used Valley Yarn for that project as well. And I used the Northfield, which is a 70% merino wool, 20% baby alpaca, and 10% silk. And I made quite a bit of progress. If you recall, when I was working on this, I had some concerns about this pattern accenting the bust area, and maybe that I wasn't going to really like that. But once I got the sleeves on, and the weight of the sleeves and the weight of the sweater kind of, put everything into shape, I was pretty pleased with the way it fits. I love the neckline. It has a gorgeous, let's see, what is this called? A garter rib. Same thing on the bottom. Great little bobble feature, which is mimicked on the sleeves as well. Top down. And in this yarn, it just flew. I know we hear that all the time. Excuse me, we hear it all the time. It just flew off the needles. Well, it flew off the needles. I can't wait to get back on Web's website and see what else, what other colors they have in this yarn. So I don't have my MCal to show you because once again, I didn't work on it. I focused on just preparing the house and doing some special things for our weekend. And I'm almost done. I thought I would be done today. I just have a little bit more before I do the cuff and graft underneath the arms. And then I'm just going to give this a good block. And I hope that when I see you next week, I'll have this on. So I just thought it was kind of fun to see these three sweaters beside each other. This gorgeous wine color, picking up the berry in this sweater, the gray in this sweater, picking up the gray here. All right, well, as far as what I'm thinking about, what other projects I have in mind, we're getting towards, gift giving season. Now, our family, we don't do a whole lot of gift giving. We just love to spend time with each other. So I don't have too many things in mind. I do have, there's a couple of ascot style cowls that have been pretty popular, and it uses a bulky yarn. I think I might make up a couple of those. Of course, my mother and I do exchange. I like to give my brother a pair of socks. I only have one brother. It's a small family. My husband's family is a large family, but again, we don't really exchange there. We'll have a dinner together with some of his siblings and celebrate that way. But I do want to put some fingerless gloves, maybe, just to have. My hairstylist, I like to give her a little something, and I like to have just something. You never know. Somebody might just need a little gift. And that reminds me of the podcast that I watched this morning. It was a smaller version of the Cady Jacks, if you watch Cady Jacks, a smaller version of their usual episodes. And it was just, I think it was just a 15-minute, and it was with, and I never remember who's Cady and who's Jax, but it was one of the women and her mom is right now in battling cancer. And this woman, Susie, her spirit, her attitude, and her perception of life and gratitude. I saw it this morning when I was having a cup of coffee, and it was so inspiring. And I was just thinking about how if we could all focus on gratitude. And what she was saying is that gratitude is grounding her. When every day when she looks around and she sees her family around her, or she sees all that she has, and this is with everything that she's going through, she is able to find peace inside her. And then she went on to talk about gift giving, and when you give a hand knit item, and how sometimes it could come back to you. So for instance, she was thinking about what she wanted to wear for a chemo hat. And one of her grandsons said, well, Grandma, you made me this hat. Why don't you wear it? And she had it on today in that episode. And then she talked about how her mother, many years ago, had crocheted a blanket for her sister, I believe, who had been ill. And she didn't really remember her mom making this crochet blanket, really. But now her mom's been passed, and it's been many, many years, and she receives the box in the mail, and it is that Afghan, and now her sister is giving it back to her. And it's like her mother is giving her a big hug when she wears that blanket. So whenever we do gift any of our crafts, whether it be knitted or, quilted or embroidered, it goes on. That story continues. And, it'll come back to us one way or the other. So I love that it is that time of year that we are thinking about gifts. And even though I don't do a lot of them, I do put some thought into the few that I do. And I hope you're enjoying whatever you celebrate, whatever holiday you celebrate. If you're a crafter and you're gifting, it's a special thing that we're doing, because every one of these stitches, right, we're putting in our love, and we're thinking about that person while we're knitting. And you're manifesting, right? You're attracting that love back to you. So anyway, I hope that you are all in holiday mode and you're enjoying your preparations, and you're going to be with your families. And I will see you again next week, which will be after Thanksgiving. So goodbye.